So we are going to make a little Christmas bauble for our cat friends today. The things you'll need to make one of these would be a 4mm crochet hook, a yarn needle, some scissors, worsted weight yarn, and whatever colors you want to use to create your little ornament here. And some stuffing, whatever kind of stuffing you like. Doesn't have to be like polyfill. It could be scraps of yarn, or it could be little crinkle papers, whatever you like. Catnip, optional as well. I think that is everything. If you want to follow along with a written pattern, I do have this pattern in one of my pattern collections. You can find a link in my bio. Beyond that, I think that's it. So let's go ahead and get started. Starting our first round of the day with a little magic circle. So we're going to cross our long end over our short end. We'll hold where they cross, take our hook through the front. We'll wrap that yarn to pull up a loop. We'll do it one more time through that first loop. And there's our magic circle. We're going to make 6 single crochets into our loop here. So we're going through the front, grab the yarn, pull it up, wrap the yarn around the hook, and pull through those 2. Once we have all 6, we're going to use that short tail to pull it closed. And this is just the very beginning here of our little Christmas bauble. If you have watched any of my videos before, our little pumpkin is essentially the same pattern. We're obviously not going to make a leaf for this one, and we got a little bit more color changing to do, but other than that they're the same. So if you successfully made yourself a pumpkin, then you're definitely going to be able to do this one. So once you finish all 6, we're going to join by finding that very first stitch you made. We're going to grab a little piece of yarn there, and we're slipping through there, and then we're going to slip through that last stitch we made. So now we just have one little loop there. We're going to chain 1, and we are going to work in the back loop only, making a single crochet, 1 in every stitch. So we'll have 6 at the end of this round as well. So just the back loop. You see that little V there? I'm going through only the back loop. When you get to the end, we'll slip stitch to join again. We'll chain 1, and then we'll be ready for round 3. Round 3 is just going to be a plain single crochet round, so there's nothing fancy about it. We'll be grabbing both little bits there. After that, we finally get to do that little color change there. So just making sure that you have all of your stitches, and then we go through that very first one, and we will join them together. So that's the very beginning there. Before we go any farther, we're going to flip that. We're going to get a yarn needle, thread that tail under the yarn needle. We're just going to tie a little knot there. Alright, once you've got that threaded onto your yarn needle, we're grabbing any little leg of that very first round. And we're going to go until you get just a little bit of a loop left, going back through the loop just to make a simple knot. And make it as tight as you can. That's just going to help secure that very beginning round. Make sure that that tail can't come out and have your kitty unravel anything. So then we're flipping it right side out again and working 1 plain single crochet round. Making sure you get that chain 1 before you start. So we're going in 1 in each stitch. So you're getting both of those little legs of that V there. When we get to the end, we're not going to slip stitch yet. We're going to change to our second color. I'm going to use green for my next color, but you can use whatever Christmassy colors you want, or whatever color your Christmas theme happens to be. It doesn't have to be like a red and green situation. It could be whatever you want. Alright, so we're stopping on that last one, finishing that stitch, but we're not going to slip stitch. I'm going to take our next color and we're just going to tie it toward the inside so that the knots stay facing inward. You won't see them. And we're going to keep our hook in there to keep that as tight as we can. Once you've got them tied together, you can use your scissors to trim away the gold color or whatever color you started with as your top color, because you aren't gonna use it again. So we're just, you can leave a little bit there just in case anything catastrophic happens and your knots come untied and you gotta retie them. You want to leave yourself enough of an end there to be able to do that. So now putting all of our tails toward the inside, bringing that working piece of yarn forward. Now we can slip stitch. So you're finding that very first stitch in the last round. And for round 4, we are going to increase. So we're going to chain 1, and then every stitch gets 2 stitches inside of it. So we're doing a single crochet 2 in every stitch around. So you're going in, wrap, pull up, wrap, pull through 2, and then we're just making sure we're going right back into that exact same spot. When you get to the end, we'll slip stitch to join, we'll chain 1, and then we'll meet back for the next round. Oh, we are ready for round 5. We are on another increase here, so we're gonna go 1 single crochet in that very first stitch, and then the next one will have the 2 single crochet. So we are repeating this pattern all the way around. Right now we have 12 stitches. It's going to take us all the way up to 18. So 1, and then the single crochet 2 in the next to increase. So we're going to keep repeating that pattern till you get to the end. We'll slip stitch to join, we'll chain 1, and then we'll be ready to get back together for round 6. Round 6 here is going to be our last increase round. We're going to have a single crochet in the first 2 stitches. So you're going 1, the next one also gets 1, and that third stitch has that increase. That's where we're going to do that single crochet 2. So you're going in, and then making sure that you go right back into that exact same spot. And we're repeating that pattern all the way around. So 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then 2. When we get to the end of this round, you end up with 24 stitches. The next round is going to be another color change round. So once you finish this one, we are not going to slip stitch to join yet. So keep going, keep repeating this pattern. When you get to the end, we'll meet back up to change our color and start on that next round. Okay, we're leaving our hook in that last stitch so that way we don't lose that stitch or it doesn't become too tight or too loose. We're gonna take our new color and we're just gonna tie it on, just making a little double knot so we know it stays nice and secure no matter what our cats try to do to it. We're gonna leave our green yarn attached. We're not gonna cut it away because we are coming back to it in a couple of rows. But for now, we are going to bring our next color, whatever your stripe color is, toward the front to work with. And then we are going to slip stitch to join. Let me mine a little loose. There we go. And chain 1. And our next 2 rounds are plain single crochet rounds. At the end of this one, you're going to slip stitch to join. You're going to chain 1, and then the round after, you're going to just finish all the single crochets, and you're not going to slip stitch to join yet. So go ahead, finish this round just as normal, finish the next plain single crochet round as well, and then we will meet back up for that next color change. We've got 8 rounds down. We're done with our second round of that stripe color. So now we can snip away the stripe color and we're gonna pull forward that main color again. Making sure any tails are out of your way. We're keeping our hook in that last stitch we made just to make sure it's nice and secure. So we're gonna pull it up to where we're working, and then we are going to double knot that tail to the green. And we want to make it as tight as we can without pulling too much, because we don't want to make any kind of like jogs happen where those meet, but we do want it to be nice and snug. We are gonna slip stitch with the green or whatever your main color is. Chain one, and then we've got 2 more plain single crochet rounds. So we're not changing color again from here on out. So we will slip stitch at the end of each. We'll chain 1 to start the next round. So we'll finish these off rows 9 and 10, or rounds 9 and 10. And then we'll meet back together for our first decrease round, round 11. All right, our first decrease round, we are going to single crochet a plain stitch on the first 2. So we're kind of reversing our last increase. And those next 2 stitches, we're going to work together to create that decrease. The way I like to do it is grab the front loop only of the 2 stitches are going to work together. So that just that front leg of the V. I'm going to wrap our yarn to pull through both of those. And then we'll wrap to pull through those last 2 on there. So you're finishing it off basically the same way you would a plain single crochet. So again, we're doing a plain single crochet in the first 2, and then those next 2 get worked together. So we're just repeating that pattern all the way around. When we get to the end, we'll slip stitch to join the rounds. We'll chain 1, and then we'll be ready for our next decrease round. So go ahead and finish up, and I'll see you there. Okay, I've chained 1, finished off that round. We should have enough of a toy now that we can tuck tails in if there's still any sticking out. So they're just staying on the inside of the toy. Our next decrease round, we are going to single crochet 1 into the very first stitch, and then we'll work the next 2 stitches together to create that decrease. And you can do this however you like. If you don't like the way I do a decrease, you can do it your way, whatever that might be, as long as you go from a certain number down to 1 less. We are going to be repeating that till the very end. We will slip stitch to join, but first, before we get there, once you finish this round, this is a good time to add stuffing. My stuffing just presented itself. I don't know if you heard that or saw it just randomly slide in. Maybe I have a helpful ghost in here with me today, a little Christmas spirit helping us make kitty cat toys. Anyway, so before you do that slip stitch, just to give you a little bit more room to get your stuffing in there, I like to wait until after I've put any catnip or any stuffing in. Then if you are using catnip, I recommend putting the catnip in first, then the stuffing. That way the little flakes of catnip don't come sprinkling out all over the place as you work your last round here. So once you get to the end, again, we're gonna skip our slip stitch join for now. Add whatever you want in there. You can put as much stuffing as you feel like you need when you want it to just kind of hold a round shape. But if your cat likes to squish your toy, it's okay to put less. Totally up to you guys. And then we'll meet back up for our very last round. Once you've got all your stuffing in there, making sure that it is tucked down out of your way to the best that you can get it, then we'll join and chain 1, and then we've got 1 last decrease round to go. This last decrease round is going to be just decrease stitches all the way around. So it's going to take us from 12 down back down to 6 stitches. So you're grabbing the front loops only if you can, or whatever kind of decrease you like to do. And yeah, so just keep going. When you get to the end, we'll slip stitch, but this time we are not going to chain 1. We will end up cutting away our green yarn, leaving like a medium length tail, so we've got something to use to tie off and to weave the bottom closed. So we will finish this one. Speaking of Christmas spirits with cat toys, we had a cat a long time ago who could not be kept inside. We tried. He would break out of the windows and go on adventures. And eventually he did get into a situation where he was no longer alive, but for weeks the neighborhood cats who were his buddies would come by and leave little dead critters for us as like little remembrances, and it was so sweet. Every once in a while I think there's a ghost cat creeping around here. Maybe that's who's helping me make little cat toys. So once you finish off that last one, we'll join. And then in that last little loop there, I'm going to take that tail that we just cut and wrap it over our hook, pull it all the way through. Now all we need to do is grab our yarn needle and thread that tail on. Okay, we've got the yarn needle. We're going to go through our very first stitch, out the one next door. I'm going to repeat that 2 more times. You're just going in and out, weaving through the tops of the stitches we've got left. When you get to the end, we're going to pull it, and you can see that that little hole that we had has now disappeared. I'm going through right about where the join is. And once you get just a little loop left, we're tying a knot. We're going to make it as tight as possible. And whichever direction your knot lays flat, we're going to send that needle through the toy as far as you can. We're going to put a little bit of tension on there. Cut that tail away, so now it'll pop into the toy and just kind of stay in there. Our little Christmas bauble is done. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys had fun.